Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Hello, and welcome to GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia, your very sick host, Cynthia, and I'm gathered here with my co-host, Keith.
I am Keith.
He forgot there. And you're not sick.
No.
You're very healthy
I am.
right now.
I just got back to the gym. I was just telling you about that. So.
Yeah, there we go. See, are you starting off 2020 on the right foot? Are you getting your health?
Yeah, literally my right foot, because I'm pretty sure I have a bunion in my left foot.
What?
Random news.
I know, totally random. I did not know that.
Yeah, we do another podcast. We talked for another an hour in that other podcast. I didn't
did
mention
not
this.
Know.
So I was getting this random pain in my foot, my left foot specifically, right on my big toe joint. And
Ow.
I thought for sure that I had gout, right? Do you know what gout is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought for sure I had gout or turf toe. And it was like the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. Well, I was hanging out with one of my buddies on Sunday to watch the Eagles lose to the Seattle Seahawks. May their playoff hosts rest in peace. But we were just chatting, and I was telling him about it, and he was Googling it because he really wanted to figure out what was going on because he didn't know how to diagnose it because he's not a doctor. And he goes, dude, I think you have a bunion. And I was like,
just that
no
word's
way.
funny.
I know. And it sounds like something that only older people get, right? But the bunion is basically when the joint swells and the swelling causes a bunch of pain. And the joint swells because your toe starts to angle underneath your other toes. And back in college when I played rugby, I had a really bad ankle sprain. So I limped around on it for 6 months. So I think that was kind of what did it in. And I like to wear dress shoes, and dress shoes normally have a pretty narrow toe box for men. So I bought some toe spacers, and I have had minimal to no pain since I started wearing the toe spacers.
Oh, great.
So I'm pretty certain that I have a bunion. So,
Ow.
And it's on my left foot. So
you're
definitely starting on the right foot. Yeah.
That is hilarious. What a great way to start the first episode for the music podcast
of
for
the
2020 of the new year. We're
Yes.
Bunion Talk here with Keith and Cynthia. I may need to talk about that on the Health and Wellness podcast.
You should. No, seriously,
Talk
people
about
do not
bunions.
know the dangers of having
right.
an unhealthy gait when you're walking. It can be so bad. I'm pretty sure that my arch collapsed during that bad injury, and I didn't even know it. And then I'm just walking around on this foot with no arch muscle and developing this incredibly painful thing that requires surgery to get rid of it. So definitely, educate
my sister had a
yourselves.
bunion and she had to get surgery. So that may be in the near future for you, Keith.
Shh. No, I've never had surgery before. So knock on wood. I even got to keep my wisdom teeth.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, and talking about wisdom teeth, I have wisdom pain right now. I haven't gone any
you're
of
just
my
getting yours?
Yes.
Aww.
I know, a little late in my life, and they're all coming out at the same time. So I feel like my mouth is pretty swollen right now, but I don't know. I am sick right now, so that's why I sound like I'm plugged, because I'm very plugged right now. But did you guys miss us? I mean, we were gone for 2 weeks. No music news for 2 weeks. I know the people missed us.
And none of us disagreeing on whether or not Megan Thee Stallion was good or how much I hated the Summer Walker record, which I will let you know. I brought up how much I disliked that record at Christmas, and my little sister was very upset with me.
Oh, okay. I like your little sister then, because she knows good R&B.
Well, she's your age, so it makes sense.
There we go. People your age. Okay, people, let's get this straight. Keith and I are still both in our 20s.
Yes.
Okay, Keith is not an ancient. He's not a fossil. He is still young.
I feel like one. I'm 29. I know I'm not. I feel like a fossil.
Maybe compared to me.
I just recently started doing Instagram stories.
Oh, there we go.
I know.
You are
literally until a month ago, I didn't even know how to add a GIF to an Instagram story.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So is it GIF or GIF?
Well, technically, the guy who created them calls them GIFs, but I'm just going to call them a GIF.
I hear both,
really
so that's
care.
why I ask. But
yeah, no.
That's funny. So we already started off Bunyan talk, Instagram stories, but today is all about festival lineups because so many came out
I know.
within the week.
Yeah.
So a lot of today is going to be talking about festival
Most of
lineups.
today.
Yeah, most of today's episode.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. And of course, we're going to start off with probably one of the biggest festivals in the U.S., I would say.
It's kind of the one that started it all.
Yes.
Well, recently, right?
Recently,
So in
right.
like the Woodstock days, they had a bunch of music festivals, and then they kind of fell to the wayside for a little while.
Right.
Like if you look at the early lineup of this particular festival, you wonder how in the world people weren't talking about it all the time because they had incredible lineups.
Yeah.
Like there was one year that Rage Against the Machine and Tool and like all of the most popular bands of the early 2000s were at this place, and it was just the lineup was bonkers, and nobody was talking about it. I went to this festival the last year, or the first year that they did 2 weekends of it. At this point, I'm sure you all know that we're talking about Coachella.
Coachella.
Yeah. Get your pasties and short shorts ready because we're going to Coachella.
Oh, no. Okay, Coachella, you can wear anything there.
I know. It's
anything's
ridiculous.
a pass. Like,
Yep.
you can walk in a G-string. No one's going to judge you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we describe for our children viewers what a G-string is? I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Oh, no. It's floss. It's floss.
I think it would be flossed on them.
There we go.
Yeah. I know. I did one dad joke in the first minute of the last podcast. There will be more dad jokes this week, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. I've never seen so many cool and hip people be so filthy as at Coachella when I went. It's just like a bunch of people who like have the best music taste. Well, at least when I went, it was a bunch of people with the best music taste that you've ever met, and they do all these cool things, and they don't shower for 3 days.
Oh, God.
And they're in the middle of the desert. Oh, it's so great. I had a really good time when I went. I did not imbibe in anything that weekend, which is really funny.
What year was the last time you went?
The only year that I went was 2012.
2012.
I went in 2012, and it was the first year that they did 2 weekends. It was the
Really? Is that the first time?
Yeah, it was when they did the hologram with
Tupac.
Yeah, Tupac.
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
And Eminem was there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think that's when
they did
started
a Nate
getting
Dogg. I think they did a Nate Dogg hologram too, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Because they did that one song that's really famous with Eminem and Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
It's on my workout playlist because it bumps.
It bumps. It
is
slaps.
that a thing? Do people say it slaps?
It
Okay,
slaps,
cool.
yeah. There we go.
It is like bumper cars. You jump in it and ride around and bump into things.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
The
I'm doing great, right?
Yeah, you're doing great. So for those of you who don't know of Coachella, who have never heard of it, it's a 3-day, 2-weekend event, and it usually happens in April. So this year, it's taking place during April 10th through 12th. That's weekend 1. And weekend 2, it's going to be April 17th through 19th. And the top 3 headliners for this year's Coachella 2020 lineup are Rage Against the Machine, Travis Scott, and Frank Ocean. So those are the top 3 headliners. And you seem like you were pretty hyped about Rage Against the Machine. Do you like them?
I love Rage Against the Machine. I have no idea why they're on this lineup.
Why? Why is that?
Well, okay, so like Rage Against the Machine represents the specific type of rebelliousness to me that is like anti-establishment, and Coachella is the epitome of establishment at this point. Like, I don't know if you've been following on social media. There's a lot of people who are saying that we should like boycott Coachella because the guy who runs it owns the company is like actively a supporter of like uninclusive and like people who are against diversity.
Yeah.
He does not support like the liberal side of the political spectrum, and he actively donates to the more conservative side. And that conservative side does not believe in the personhood of those with opposing views of them. I'm trying to really nicely say, the thing. So if you're more interested in learning about that, you could Google it. But
you know what's interesting about that is the type of people that this event attracts is all about diversity. So it's kind of like
it's a very big juxtaposition.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like It's really funny. It's like, I used to say this in high school. If someone cares a lot about something, then they don't mind being pandered to for caring about that thing. Mm-hmm. And they'll even give money to people who actively detract from the thing that they care about if they're being pandered to well enough. So like if I really care about like koalas and it's like, oh, I think that you should like stop poaching koalas, and somebody who poaches koalas was like, I'm gonna make a shirt that's really cute that says don't poach the koala bear. Aw, like people would buy that shirt.
Right.
And they would buy tons of it before they even realized what was happening. It's like people just like being pandered to. So Coachella is a lot like that. It creates its own culture and things like that, and people don't bother to research the guy who actually runs it or owns it. And I'm not saying that I side either particular way. I think if you want to go to Coachella, cool. I try not to be too attached to the awful things that business owners do, because it's impossible to find a business owner who does not do awful things.
Right.
But all that to say, Rage Against the Machine, they're normally super rebellious against things like this. And if you look at the rest of this lineup, it is like, I don't like the other headliners.
Pretty, like the major headliners or the other people who are on the lineup? Because they're the top 3 headliners, you know, Travis
Yeah, so
Scott,
the main headliners don't look great. I hope that they pulled DaBaby, because he is... we literally just logged onto Twitter and it said DaBaby was arrested for domestic violence.
No, but okay, let me get into that because I follow him.
Oh
First
my
of all,
gosh.
he's out.
I follow his curated Instagram.
He's already out. He's free. He's with this kid already. And someone robbed money from him. Someone in his circle robbed money from him. So that's why he got, you know, violent.
Okay. Well,
But
either way, regardless,
Yeah.
He has been convicted in the past of some pretty heinous things, but whatever. He's awful. I can't stand his music. Summer Walker, we know that I don't love her. Lana Del Rey is super vanilla. Lil Uzi Vert, also just like super cardboard copy. Ari Lennox is on there, which is cool. I'd go see her. FKA Twigs is like the same thing, but for kind of like indie music.
I like FKA
Disclosure.
Twigs.
Tom York is from Radiohead. Like, it's just all these like big name people that really, like, Calvin Harris is on the same day as Rage Against the Machine. And like, Rage Against the Machine is supposed to represent everything that all these, or the antithesis of everything that all these other people stand for. And it's just kind of ridiculous to me that, like, at this point in their career, Rage Against the Machine would come back to do this particular show for the guy who owns this company. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's almost, honestly, it's like Nirvana, right? When Kurt Cobain was doing what Kurt Cobain was doing back in the early 90s, part of the reason that he killed himself was because he hated the machine of popularized music so much, and he hated that everybody loved what it was that he was doing, so much so that it drove him crazy, because there was like this juxtaposition between like fame and influence and his desire for rebelliousness.
But what's the point of putting your music out there if you don't want everybody to hear it?
Well, Rage Against the Machine was able to kind of tread that similar line that Nirvana did, where it was like, yeah, I'm saying F you to the system, but like in a way that is accessible and meaningful. And like, part of the way that they did that was like they would go out and play in front of the Democratic and the Republican conventions, because the whole point was that like neither side was right, and they thought everybody was stupid for believing in these things that were kind of like arbitrary lines that were created to divide us rather than unite us. And that's what they used to be about. And now they're like doing this Coachella music festival. It's just like, if Kurt Cobain was still alive today, he would be so upset, in my opinion, over the fact that they sell Nirvana shirts in Target, right? Like, that was everything that he was against. And it just feels like Rage Against the Machine exists in that same kind of space where it's like, if the band members weren't around today, they would be rolling in their grave knowing that someone was going to play the music that they had made at a music festival. We can talk more about that after commercial break.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm the CEO and founder of Sober Recovery Center. If you're struggling with alcohol, meth, heroin, pills, we can help you. We treat you in a way that's going to help you want to stay and want to do it. Sometimes people think that there isn't any hope, and yet there is. We don't give up on people. That's what makes us different.
Call SOBA now and get the help you need at 866-547-6451.
always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to GSMC Music Podcast. And right before the break, Keith was letting us know about how Nirvana would be rolling in their grave right now if they saw Target.
Just Kurt Cobain.
Oh, Kurt Cobain, sorry.
Yeah. Most of the other members of Nirvana are still alive, I
Yeah.
believe. I mean, Dave Grohl is one of them, and I think the Foo Fighters have played Coachella. I imagine they have.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that makes sense what you're saying. Like, I see both perspectives, but I just still don't really understand how some artists, how you're saying Kurt Cobain, the whole point of their music, you know, when you put it out to the world, that's kind of your art, and you just kind of have to let the universe and the people do
what they're going to do with
right.
it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I see kind of both sides, but
there's a line to walk. But let's change the subject to something more positive.
Right.
I really there are good bands on this lineup. So let's
Yeah.
talk about who we're excited about rather than me just like trashing on it.
Okay,
I feel like I've been
honestly-
trashing on it way too much.
No, it's fine. I think the lineup is totally fire. My friends are all going. They're all camping. I'm going to have major FOMO because I'm not going this
Oh,
year.
you're not going to get to go?
I'm not going to go.
Why
I'm
not?
Gonna go.
That's a bummer.
I know. You know, I'm just trying to save money.
Yeah, the
That's
tickets
the
are
biggest
expensive.
thing. It's just
How much
like
are they this year?
$429 face value. So,
Really? That's it?
that's
I'm going to
not-
buy some and resell them. Those are going to
But
resell at like $1,000.
They got it at the pre-sale price. I think on January 1st when they went live, they were like $450. That's like the general price. But yeah, it's just like I'm balling a budget right now. I can't.
No,
like, I
as you
can't
should
drop
be.
$1,000. You know, a whole grand
No.
on like a 3-day weekend.
And that's honestly when I went in 2012, it ended up costing me about $900 in total to camp and go.
That's not
between
okay.
gas
That's a lot
and driving
cheaper.
and yeah. So it cost me like $900 in total for the tickets and the camping pass and everything
And food.
and food.
Food
Yeah,
is expensive.
and I bought a couple records while I was down there because they used to have this cool record store at the venue. I don't know if they do that anymore. I haven't been in 7 years. So
The last time I went was in 2017. Well, that's the only time I went.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, I spent a lot of money that weekend for sure. And
it's a good time though.
but I want to let like
It's worth going once, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like everyone has to experience it at least once just to like see
Or a music festival in general.
Right, any music festival. It doesn't have to be Coachella, but Coachella is probably the most overhyped one at this point. I mean, their tickets go on sale right on like the summer the year before. So a very high demand. But some artists, pretty much the ones that all of Keith hates on, I'm excited for. Like all like my hip hop R&B lovers. Megan Thee Stallion, she's gonna be there.
That'd be a cool show. I wasn't
Megan,
trying to diss
she's
on
gonna be
her.
lit. I know.
I'm sure she'll be
you
fun.
didn't mention Megan, so I do appreciate that. Big Sean, City Girls. So City Girls, they're a duo rap group from Miami. 21 Savage, The Baby. I know you're hating on The Baby. I'm excited for The Baby. Summer Walker, Ari Lennox should be great as well. She's amazing live. And also for my non-hip hop R&B lovers, I mean, Jai Wolf. I know that's a DJ my sister really loves, and she was super hyped when she saw Jai Wolf on the lineup. Louis the Child, Carly Rae Jepsen. We mentioned
No way, Carly.
Yes.
I didn't see her.
Carly Rae Jepsen, Flume, Lil Nas X. So you know he's for sure gonna be. He might bring out Billy Ray Cyrus and Old Town Road.
Oh, that's how.
Old
I was
Town
like,
Road.
why do I know Little Nas
X, yes,
Yeah.
from Old Town Road. So in my opinion, it's a fire lineup. I like the diversity in the music. That's one of the reasons why I honestly like Coachella and any like music festival that's similar to Coachella, because I love broadening my perspective and my range in music. Although I am a huge lover of hip hop and R&B, I do appreciate other styles of music such as like Jai Wolf, like electronic. I can appreciate those styles of music. And especially when I'm in the desert with my friends and, you know, I got a little bit of liquor in me. I mean, anything sounds great at that point. So it's all about the vibes. I feel like people just go to Coachella just for the vibes and everyone's kind of on the same wave as you. You're all trapped in this like space in the middle of the desert and everyone's just like out of their minds.
That's so funny because I went to see bands. I saw 36 bands.
I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that.
I did not. And I think I had like maybe 2 drinks while I was there. I was not imbibing. I was there to just absorb as much live music as possible. For people who maybe don't share the same taste as, Cynthia, there are a lot of other cool artists on here who are in like a different vein. Rex Orange County is super awesome. And he's actually done a lot of work with hip hop artists that you would be familiar with. That's kind of how he got his break in the industry. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is on here.
I saw that.
Which is hilarious how small their text is in comparison to like the band Caribou is on day 2 and they're nowhere near as popular as King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is, at least in the circles that I kind of am familiar with. Yeah. Idols is on here. Idols is this super cool, like loud, yelly punk band that's really fun. Run the Jewels. Who else do we got on here?
That's a lot of
I don't even know
ones.
who Danny Elfman. I think that's the guy from Oingo Boingo, if I'm remembering correctly. Disclosure's on here. They're cool. They do a good job as far as I can tell. Who else do we got? I'm just looking through this. Not for the first time. I've looked through it several times. But there's definitely some
I feel there's
bands
someone
on
for
here.
everybody.
Yeah. They usually do a good job. The problem is that it's just hard to see everybody who you want to see.
Right.
Because once they release like the day by day lineup, then it becomes a completely different
Right.
animal.
There's 3 stages and like, the toughest part when like 2 of your favorite artists are performing at the same time on different stages. You're like, which one do I go to? You gotta like flip a coin at that point.
Well, I remember when I went, Bon Iver played right before Radiohead, so it was really nice.
Oh, you didn't have to move then.
No, I didn't have to move
great.
because I wanted to see both of them. Those are both great shows. I really enjoyed Bon Iver. If you ever get a chance to see Bon Iver live, it is like a really nice, chill vibe. Everybody has a good time, and his music is so like weird and different. Like nobody sings along, so it's a much different experience, which I really dig. I hate it when I'm at a concert and people start singing along.
Oh, really? Like shut up! You're like shut up! I want to hear the.
I know.
I
didn't come here to hear you guys sing. I came here to listen to Tom York or
that's so funny.
Matt Berringer.
You probably would never want to go to a concert with me because I'm that person who's like singing out loud uncontrollably every single lyric to the song.
And I appreciate that other people are there to have fun. I just wish that there was like a not sing along concert where it was like distinctly for people who didn't want to hear that.
Right.
And it's like, why don't you offer that? All you professional musicians who listen to our podcast, please offer that. You'll make double the money.
I'm sure there's a group of people just like you.
I know, and I know I'm not the only one. Like, I don't want to ruin anybody else's good time. I just want to get to have a good time too. And you know what? I think that there's money to be made off of both demographics. So why are people not taking advantage of it, in my opinion?
Right.
But anyway.
I know. So if you're a musician or whoever, producer, writer, you're listening to this, take notes.
Yeah, really.
Because that's actually a good point. Because I know not everyone wants to listen to me sing, especially if I'm plugged up like this. But I do want to get into, so Frank Ocean, he is
yeah, that's right. He's
left as day 3 headliner.
Yeah.
So
day 3 is usually the biggest one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of my gay friends, they're selling their Coachella tickets because there were rumors circling that Rihanna was going to be headlining day 3 and she's not. So a lot of my gay friends were hoping for Rihanna, and so now they're selling their tickets, and because they don't want to see Frank Ocean.
Wait, isn't Frank Ocean
Also, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But we love Rihanna though. And Rihanna has been saying...
Has she released any new music in the last?
She lied and said she was going to release it December 31st, 2019. And the clock struck midnight, and it didn't. She's a liar.
That's true, because if she had, like, I would have seen nothing but mediocre Pitchfork articles about how great Rihanna's new record is.
No, but it's done though. She on Instagram, she keeps putting, I'm listening to RN by myself but refusing to release it. So she has it done, but I think she's probably just picking a clever time exactly when to put her.
She's going to put it out like when she's waiting for Beyonce to surprise drop her
Right,
next
I
record,
feel like
and
it's
then
gonna be a
Rihanna puts
surprise.
out her record the same
Right.
day.
I think it's going to be a surprise drop, but
Yeah.
I want to
Oh,
know
well.
your thoughts. Like Frank Ocean, has he released new music lately?
Oh yeah, he released a record this year. Did he release one last year? He's released 3 records in the last 5 to 10 years, all 3 of which were on Pitchfork's top 10 of like the top 100 records of the decade, which is crazy to me because like Frank Ocean is cool, but like there's a very specific demographic of people who are super into him.
Right.
And I just feel like by putting all 3 of his records in your top 10, Pitchfork is just proving that they're really only trying to appeal to that demographic, because they're not really like talking about other records that did things in a more interesting way or a more unique way. But that's neither here nor there. Frank Ocean is cool. He makes some good music. I'm not surprised he's the headliner for day 3.
I am though. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised. Like, I'm not hating on Frank Ocean. I'm not a diehard fan of his. I used to listen. What was it? Novocaine. I really liked that song from him, but I haven't kept up with his latest projects or releases. But
Right.
I'm pretty surprised. I think he's headlining for day 3 as the banger because he's been kind of living under a rock for quite some time now.
Well, that's
So-
kind of his MO, right? Is
Right.
to live under a rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I know many people in my group are excited to see him, but I am pretty surprised that he's day 3 headliner. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with the lineup. I am definitely sad I'm missing it this year again, especially because I think I'm literally the only one in my friend group who's not going, but that's fine. That's okay. That's what a responsible adult. I'm taking on, adult responsibilities right now.
Yeah, good
so,
for you.
It's not fun. Being an
It
adult not
is
sometimes.
fun. It is fun.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. But
All right.
we should get more into some other festivals. We're going to talk about Bonnaroo, but that will be right after this.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hello, and welcome back to GSMC Music Podcast. Keith and I are done with the Coachella talk. All right, we'll talk about Coachella probably in April after the event goes down. And we're moving on to an entirely different festival now. Bonnaroo 2020 lineup.
Bonnaroo.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, today is basically just the preview of the biggest music festivals either in our area or in the United States, because they all dropped their lineups in the last couple of weeks. So
Yes.
we wanted to talk about it. So let me just say, I'm more excited about the Bonnaroo lineup than I am about the Coachella lineup.
I knew you were going to say that.
It feels a little bit more balanced. So like it feels like it's got like a lot of like interesting things for people who aren't necessarily into the R&B feel, right?
Not as like mainstream.
No,
I would say.
but it's always been kind of like the not as mainstream option as Coachella. So on day 1 we have Tool, Miley Cyrus, and Bass Nectar.
Well, okay. So before we really get into this, I want to share with those who might not even know what or have never heard of Bonnaroo because I'm going to
people have never heard of Bonnaroo?
I never heard of
Oh my
Bonnaroo.
gosh.
That's why.
Bonnaroo's been going for a long time.
But not that long. Not as long as Coachella.
That's true.
Okay, this year's only going to be their 19th annual festival. So only, what year are we in now? 2020? I'm like, I already forgot what year. But, only since the early 2000s.
Yeah, and what Coachella's been going since the 90s?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know Coachella's longer than Bonnaroo, but that's what I wanted to share with, our listeners maybe who might not know Bonnaroo. So for those of you who don't know, this festival takes place closer to the summertime. So this year is going to be June 11th through the 14th. Mm-hmm. So this is a 4-day festival. That's pretty intense.
I know,
I can barely handle 3 days. And
the first day is much more chill.
Yes, I did see it's way more chill. And
I think it happens around the city. So I think the way that it works is like Thursday, they do a bunch of stuff around the city. Mm-hmm. And then Friday is the first day at the actual venue. If I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. And so Bonnaroo, it takes place, as always, in Great Stage Park, which is this 700-acre farm, an event space located in Manchester, Tennessee. And it's about 60 miles outside of Nashville. So the Bonnaroo, it's in Tennessee, Manchester, Tennessee, in a farm. So I thought that was pretty cool. Open space. But I did want to kind of lay the groundwork for those who are like, what the heck is Bonnaroo?
Yeah, just in case.
But,
that's fair.
Fair. I like the lineup, so I want you to get more into some of the artists.
Well, on Thursday, there's a band called Too Many Zoos. Have you ever heard of Too Many Zoos?
No.
Okay, so Too Many Zoos is this band. It's like a jazz fusion band, but they play, it's like 3 or 4 different saxophonists or miscellaneous musicians and like a drummer. And their drummer is just incredible and plays super fast jazz. Mm-hmm. And then the saxophone players will like put giant safety cones on the end of their saxophone so that it sounds like an octave deeper. They're awesome. You should definitely like give them a shot. Okay. But anyway, so first day, it looks like each day has like 3 kind of like primary headliners, right? So we've got Tool, Miley Cyrus, and Bass Nectar.
You can't forget Lizzo.
We're talking about day 1.
Oh, day 1.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying already like the day 3. See my listing?
No. Yeah.
I'm sick. That's my excuse for everything. I'm sick.
Oh, I want to talk about the day by day because it's just interesting to me, like looking at this lineup. You got the 1975, Run the Jewels, Glass Animals, Young the Giant, which I didn't know that they were still around. Well, I mean, I knew that they were still around. I just didn't know that they were still like popular. Mm-hmm. Brittany Howard, Primus, and then this is a band that I cannot believe is on this lineup. Dashboard Confessional. Do you know who Dashboard Confessional is?
No, but why are you surprised?
Okay, so Dashboard Confessional is like an emo band. They're like Yellow Card or Fall Out Boy. From
really?
My generation. Their big song was what was it called? I can't remember, but it's like this emo love song, and it's just hilarious. You should look up Dashboard Confessional.
Dashboard Conventional.
Yeah,
okay.
Confessional. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Okay.
Big Wild, Wallows is on there. They're pretty cool. And this is all just day 1. I mean, day 1 looks pretty good. And the nice thing about Bonnaroo is that they do longer sets for their headliners. So like Coachella, it's like your typical 1 hour to 2 hour set. Like, at Bonnaroo.
Is it even 2 hours? I feel like it's like 30 minutes. Coachella's like.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, pretty short.
They really move through. But at Bonnaroo, there's a band called My Morning Jacket, and My Morning Jacket has played Bonnaroo for 12 hours straight once.
What?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
I think they just jammed a lot, and yeah, it was definitely a task for them, I'm sure. So day 2, we've got Lizzo, which is cool, and neat little tidbit. Apparently this is the first time that a female solo artist has been a headliner on one of the days.
Yeah, so Lizzo's already
which is surprising.
making history.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, I'm surprised that there haven't been other female artists who were able to solicit enough of a following for Bonnaroo to feel that it was time for them to put them on as the headliner. But
we need to talk to them booking agents why they're not making females some headliners.
Apparently.
But yeah, I'm happy to see that.
Oysterhead. Do you know who Oysterhead is?
No.
I don't know
A
who
lot
they
of
are
the
either.
bands and artists on the Bonnaroo lineup I'm not familiar with.
No, they get some more subversive stuff for sure.
But you know which one I was familiar with? And the only reason why I even know this band is because of you is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. When I saw that, I was like, oh, the only reason I even know who they are is because Keith made me listen to them. So see?
Infest the Rat's Nest. It was a great record.
Yep.
Do you know who Tenacious D is?
No, but it sounds familiar.
So Tenacious D is Jack Black's band.
What? Jack Black has a band?
Jack Black has a band, and it's hilarious. You should.
Oh my god!
They're mostly like spoof songs, I think, but they do a good job. They do a really good job with it.
Jack
It's metal.
Black is hilarious, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and then we've got a band, the Growlers. They were super popular back in my day. It's funny you say earlier, I'm not ancient, but like these bands were like. They were the cream of the crop on all of the music critic websites. Like everybody wanted to talk about the Growlers, and they all loved them, and I couldn't stand them. So it's just really funny. I still don't necessarily love them. And then day 3/4, Tame Impala.
Yes,
that's exciting.
They've headlined Coachella last year.
I wouldn't be surprised. They were at Coachella when I was there, but they didn't headline.
Oh, okay.
They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Vampire Weekend's on there. Do you like Vampire Weekend?
No, but I've heard.
Wait, no, as in you've never listened to them?
I've never listened, but
What?
I've heard of the name Vampire Weekend, but I've never heard
seriously,
their music.
It's so funny that you say that I'm not that much older than you, because these bands are like staples for people who were in high school at the same time that I was, and I know I'm only like 4 years older than you. So
but
like,
I mean, yeah, nothing happened in 4 years.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I am not much older than you at all. But like the amount of like cultural differences that happens just in music taste is it's incredible to me, because like these bands, if I were to say them to anybody my age, they would chuckle and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that band." But like you aren't even aware of them, which I think is, or you've never listened to them, you've just heard their name, which I think is funny just about the kind of like dichotomy that we have between
absolutely
between us. And then we've got Leon Bridges. Do you know Leon Bridges?
No.
You don't
I know. I'm like
Bridges
right now.
either?
Your mouth is like falling off your face.
Gosh.
I
cannot believe you don't know Leon Bridges.
There are many artists I can list that you're like, I don't know who that is.
Right, and you would be flabbergasted that I'd never heard of them.
Right.
Yeah, fairly so in my opinion. Right. So Grace Potter, you don't need to have heard of her. They're a cool little like country band, but yeah, overall this music festival looks I think pretty great.
I think it's pretty impressive too. When I was looking at Bonnaroo, you know who else they have on Bonnaroo is Megan Thee Stallion. She is in high demand again. Megan Thee Stallion, the baby. I know you don't like him, but he's on there too. Kevin Gates, Young Thug, there are other hip hop artists on there, but
I love how you just basically name off everything else on the list that I didn't.
Right. And then Troy Boy and Flume.
Troy Boy.
Yeah, Troy Boy. I actually have a couple friends, dancer friends, who are on tour with them, so I'm sure they'll be on stage at Bonnaroo. Yeah.
So you're going to go to Bonnaroo?
No, but I honestly, after looking at this lineup, and I was, on the web looking at past videos, it seems like a pretty cool festival, and it's cheaper than Coachella, so I would be down to go. I feel like at this point, anything that's similar to Coachella and I can get for half the price, I'd much rather go to that festival.
Are the tickets literally half the price?
I'm not sure if this one in specific is, if Bonnaroo is, but other ones are.
Okay. Well, I definitely, we should talk about those other ones. So the last festival that we're talking about today is kind of in our area. We're going to be talking about the BottleRock lineup. So BottleRock is it's local to us. We're in Northern California, in the Napa Valley, which is pretty well known for their wine, actually, which is pretty cool. And that's actually how the festival started. In 2013, they did their first festival. It was a 5-day festival that focused primarily on the Napa wineries and not so much on the music. So because it's primarily focused on wineries, or at least it was, it's kind of in the past tailored to like a generally older demographic. So it kind of feels like the last stop before the casino circuit of festivals.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. So, this year the lineup, however, is actually pretty cool. It's got a pretty good balance of like bands that younger people could enjoy and bands that older people are going to be all about. It's got this like kind of like country folk feel with like a few like kind of more modern bands thrown in. I know that like it's pretty funny that Miley Cyrus is going to be there. Are you familiar with Anderson .Paak?
I am actually.
Yeah, I love Anderson .Paak. He's
Anderson
super cool.
.Paak. Stevie Nicks, okay.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to her music, it makes me feel like I'm floating on like clouds or something.
Have you listened to Brandi Carlile? She's the name right underneath Stevie Nicks. So she's actually really good. I was listening to her record today, and I was like, where have I seen that name? She's kind of along the same vein. She's a little bit more like twangy country than Stevie Nicks is. But Khalid is different than DJ Khaled, and supposedly Khalid's pretty good. And then Dave Matthews Band and Red Hot Chili Peppers, which Red Hot Chili Peppers have John Frusciante back. So I don't know if you know this, but John Frusciante left the band after, what was it? I think Stadium Arcadium was his last record. He's had just some miscellaneous things make it so that he couldn't participate in the band. So they've been trying to find somebody who is even half as good as he is for the last few years. So it's actually pretty cool that they'll be playing so close to us and he will be back. And then just to name off a few other ones that people might be familiar with, Blondie's on there, Of Monsters and Men, Foals, Empire of the Sun, Tegan and Sara, Jimmy Eat World, Local Natives, Trampled by Turtles, Turquoise has been on a couple other ones. They're like this really cool funk band, which I think is hilarious. And then we've got Mandolin Orange, The Village People. Do you know, the Village People are the YMCA people, right?
I'm not sure.
I feel like that's them for sure. Grace Vanderwall. I mean, overall, this lineup is actually pretty cool from like start to finish. It's definitely got like a lot of interesting things for people of a pretty wide demographic, which is fun. It is also right around the corner from us. We're based like about a half hour outside of Sacramento, and Napa is like, what, 40?
It's close to the Bay Area.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes southwest of us, I want to say. So like, depending on how much tickets are, I'm definitely considering going.
Yeah.
I've heard it's really
isn't
fun.
as mainstream as like Coachella or all the other like major festivals.
Yeah, we're mostly talking about it for all of our homies in California in our area. So
yeah, if you're like a Northern California local resident, this is a place to go.
Yeah, and the food is amazing. I've heard that they do a really good job with picking their food vendors, and they focus a lot on the wineries, and Napa wineries are world famous. Like the Napa Valley is world renowned, and it's crazy that like we live 45 minutes away from world renowned wineries. It's awesome. So I'm definitely considering going. How about you?
I would definitely want to go. Like BottleRock, I would definitely go, especially because ticket prices like usually are like for a day are around $100.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No,
I'd love to go for a day.
Yeah, I would definitely want to go to BottleRock. Is more chill. It's not about the outfits, more about, it's like arts, how you say the winery. So no, I definitely would consider going.
Oh, and it'll be beautiful in May. It's like the second to last weekend of May. So I'm sure that'll be a great time. So on that note, that's all we've got for you this week, guys.
That was a lot.
We talked about
artists,
a lot of festivals.
We covered a lot.
So thank you for joining us. If you liked what we talk about, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us some great reviews. Comment in the comment section. Follow us on social media.
All of that good stuff.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Happy New Year and have a great week. We will be back next week.
Have a great one.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.